Welcome to the podcast. Welcome, welcome. This is the Midcast podcast where we talk about social well-being with different artists, ranging from physical art to digital art to camera work, photography, videography, and even music. Which today is, I guess, we interviewing someone in the music industry within Trinidad and Tobago. If you don't mind introducing yourself, go ahead.
Yeah. I was just locking my door to make sure that no one barges in. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I go by the name Naski, and I make music on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Music. And I'm from Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
Uh, what else do I include in the intro? Is there anything specific that you want me to
Well,
point?
just tell me about yourself, I guess, a little bit.
Um, well, I'm 18. I've been making music for about 3 years now, and I'm a college student. I study business, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. All right.
I want to get into like a fusion of business and music when I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
Find somewhere to incorporate the two into what I do.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah.
well, what kind of business per se would you say you would want to do or have? Like, what kind of business you'd have in mind to own? Like,
There's a bunch, and it really depends on where I end up living. Cause
mm-hmm.
like an easy startup would be to do like t-shirts and clothing in general. Because it's not very capital intensive, you can kind of just do it with very little money. So that's probably what I'll end up doing first, and link it with like my music pages. Since I already have listeners over there, it'll be easier to branch out. And I guess when I'm older and I'm more in a more independent stage of my life, and I have more money, I'll try to do bigger things. Like in Canada, marijuana is legal, so I may get into that. I don't know. It all depends on when the time comes closer.
So, you want to eventually own a weed shop?
Hey, it's one of the first things that come to mind when you're thinking about moving to that part of the world.
Uh,
But
fair
there's
enough.
other things like since I'm doing business, I could manage other artists. That's always a thing I can do. I have like my own label
Yeah, I was gonna suggest
that
that.
I can
Yeah,
run.
you could probably
Yeah.
own your own label and sign other people.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Gotta
Interesting.
get a lot of connections. Gotta get a lot of connections. That's something I'm working on.
Yeah. 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 This so at least socialize and talk to different artists
Yeah.
and make friends and I mean, which isn't that bad. Like, I think right now you're friends with, well, you're a part of Astrals right now, the music group. Uh,
Yeah.
you're friends with people from other groups, like who? I know you're friends with
Yeah.
hm.Wav, I think, right?
Yeah. hm.wav is really cool.
Mm.
He he messages me like whenever he has like beats and stuff that
Mm.
he doesn't want to use. He'll message me and ask me if I want them and stuff.
Mm.
Um, in Astrals, being in Astrals helped me make a lot of connections with people in other groups like
Mm.
Bloodhounds and Nova Gang and Goon City, Ivy League, Slow Silver 03. There's a bunch of groups, and because I would join like their discords,
Mm.
and obviously like my social media stuff would be linked to my Discord, so they'll
Mm.
see it and they'll click on it and they'll be like, oh, he's in Astrals.
Mm.
I mean, like, oh, they're in Astrals. If they know me better, they would use like they them, and they'll be like, oh, they're in Astrals. And I like add them on Discord.
Mm.
One person in particular that I got to speak with a lot is Mental. I don't know if you know Mental. He has a lot of songs with Black Winterwells and other people who would have produced for artists like Osquin. And there's potential that I'll make a song with him. So that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to. That's like one of the big things that came out of
Being a part of Astrals.
being a part of Astrals. So talking to a lot more people.
That's another one of the questions. How did you end up joining Astrals? Like, did you get contacted and asked to join the group, or was there like?
So the person who currently runs Astrals, her name is Levi, and she's really cool. She messaged me like a while ago, like a couple months ago, because I remember I had tweeted out saying, "Damn, I really want to be in a collective. It seems so fun." And I think she was already following me. So she messaged me and I'm like, yo, I'm starting this collective. Back then it wasn't even called Astrals, it was something else. I don't think they even had a name yet. They're like, yo, do you want to get added to this group chat? I'm trying to start something. I was like, yeah, of course. So I joined, and I joined the group chat, and I've been in it ever since the name changed to Astrals. And it became a lot more organized. Like they put out an EP like last year that I have a song on. I think Rich and Sorrow, produced by Curtains, that is on that EP. And there's supposed to be another one happening really soon, I'm not sure. And yeah, so that's how I joined. I had tweeted out, she saw it and she messaged me. She's like, yo, I like your sound, you would fit in well with these other people. And
Interesting. So you also, I would guess that you also now have your music monetized per se, by now, at this point?
I don't have SoundCloud monetization because I have some of my songs on streaming services like Apple Music and Spotify and YouTube Music. So I get money from that. It's not a lot because my plays aren't that huge, but it does have some money there. And I distribute through a company called Amuse, and they own Amuse. I have a free Amuse account. I don't pay for the subscription. So I would have to pay for the subscription. If you pay for the subscription, you get services like having your songs on TikTok and Instagram Music and SoundCloud monetization. And so that's something I've been thinking about investing in. If it would probably be worth it to have my songs on platforms like TikTok and Instagram Music. So yeah, it's not something I've done yet, but it can happen in the future.
Okay. Interesting. So right now, what you said you're in college. What are you studying right now?
Right now, I'm doing a bachelor's in international and sustainable business. So that's pretty much learning about entrepreneurship, management. It's pretty much a general business degree. So I'm learning the ins and outs of everything that you need to know with regards to running a business on your own. So when I'm done, I should be pretty adequately equipped to start a business and just do it.
It's understandable. How did you go about starting making music? Like, did you just one day thought that, well, I want to start making music, and you just started producing, or you'll just start making music, and or did you just like how did it come about per se? Like, were you inspired by other people to make music, or
I was definitely inspired by artists that I listened to at the time, because I would listen to them and I would be like, this sounds really good, and it doesn't seem like they put. Obviously, they put a lot of effort into it, but what I mean is like it doesn't seem like it costs a lot of money to do. Like it's very like DIY, kind of like they just got up and did it. So I thought maybe I can do this. Like, why don't I give it a shot? And I remember I told my friends, my neighborhood friends, like guys that I used to hang out with like every weekend, who live right down the street from me. I was like, yo, I'm thinking about like buying a microphone and like just recording. And then they were all like, that sounds like a really good idea. Like, let's do that. Because apparently they had been looking into doing that as well. And even though we don't really have the same music taste, like they listen to artists like Popcorn and Vibes Cartel a lot more than I do. So that's more of the influence. But the common ground was that it's music, So regardless of the genre, it's music. So we all chipped in and we bought one microphone, a Blue Yeti, and we would take turns using it. So like for one weekend I would have it, for another weekend another guy would have it, for another weekend and the third guy would have it. And it was like a rotation. And I remember we put out like a song with all three of us. And it's not up anymore. It got like privated and deleted. This was like 3 years ago. It's pretty bad in terms of the production quality looking back. But at the time, we were so gassed to just that we did that and put it out. And we were sharing it with everyone in like in like their high school and my high school that I was in at the time. They were super. Everyone was like, yo, these guys just did that. Like what? And it doesn't sound bad for guys who literally have no idea what they're doing. And it was like, you know what? We could like continue doing this. There are people that like it, and let's continue doing it. So that's what kind of like motivated me to actually continue putting out songs. The fact that there were people around me who also wanted to make music. And they eventually got their own microphone, so we don't share one mic anymore. So like we all kind of do our own thing now.
Oh, what? Do they still do music?
Yeah, they record, but they don't really put stuff out as frequently as I do. So like
and you barely put out these days at least. So that means they had I can imagine their output.
I put out like once a month, once every other month sometimes. Not as frequently as I probably should, but it's still there. And the other guys, I remember them saying they were just really busy. They just doing other things because they were doing Form 6, they were doing Cape, all those things. My schedule was a lot more free.
Yeah, I would imagine that.
Plus being a business student is not really a subject where you have to do like extreme studying for, like, I don't know, something like biology. So I just had a lot more time to just do it and develop it and get better at it.
I would imagine.
But that's my like IRL motivation to do it. I was obviously also influenced by the type of music that I listened to, which at the time was like XXXTentacion, Suicide Boys. I got into Lil Peep like after, and also rock music like Bring the Horizon, Pierce the Veil, that kind of stuff. So I was really inspired by that kind of music at that time, especially the lyrics. I really like how dark and gritty some of the lyrics would be. I related to it heavily being like 14, 15 years old.
The emo stages.
Yeah, 100% emo stage. I was like, I gotta like do this myself. Like I felt the need to make my own version of what I was hearing. So like that's why a lot of the earliest songs that I've made, even though they're not public, I can tell you they sounded a lot like what X would do or what the Suicide Boys do. Because that's where like the main influence, just a hard beat with heavy 808s and just straight rapping. And what I do now is very different from what I was doing. In such a short amount of time, a lot of change happened in the type of music that I like to put out.
Because I could remember
like poppy, or like
kind of
stuff.
Slightly into the hyper pop, like slightly hyper pop, but not fully.
With a bit more of like alternative rock.
Yeah.
Because I do like to use the guitar instrumentals.
Which is something I actually quite enjoy with your music or music like that in general, like guitar riffs and like the heavy sounds. I like a lot because if you know that I kind of hit my emo stage hard like after I left high school because I discovered I began like I slowly started to get into it listening to Scarlet first in I think it was form 4 or form 5 is when I started to really find out about rock and rock rap, and I listened to a lot of Scarlet. I had listened to actual bands like Percival South, Census Fail, other bands. I can't remember their names, but I used to listen to a good bit. Korn as well.
Korn.
Yeah.
Korn
with a K.
OG stuff. Yeah.
OG stuff. And I even I was heavily influenced by the emo style or the emo sound per se, because when I look back or listen back to like old emo music, I just couldn't help myself but love listening to it or like enjoy the sounds of the guitar riffs and the instrumentals. Like,
everything about it.
Like it was.
How can you not love it?
It really was just something I enjoyed. And after I hit my emo phase, I kind of dropped back down, but I still enjoy listening to that type of music, or I still kind of consider myself in that. Hell, people in SBCS used to call me the closet emo, just because every time they used to pass by my screen, it was either Scarlet playing or Census Fail playing on the screen. Me just staring at it, flashing lights. This hardcore shit. Scarlet and Lil Peep were two people I used to listen to a lot before. And I think I remember it was the same week that I got into Lil Peep was when he died, which was around where I think the first song I listened to from him was Ben's Truck 2.
Yeah.
That was the first song I'd listened to by him. And
I remember. That was a long time ago.
It really was, but it feels like like it really amazes me how like I was affected by it a good bit, to be honest with you. Even with his other album that came out, I think last year or the year before, I had cried listening to that, to be honest with you. I couldn't help but cry. Yeah, I cried it. I cried it like 2-3 times. It really was.
I remember. I only got into him like a month before he died. So I wasn't listening to him for that long. I was just now getting to the point where I could say, yeah, I'm a big fan of this guy. I've been listening to him for a month. The first Come Over When You're Sober album. And
I think
it's all a song.
For me it was around a month, around a month for me as well. Not a week, around a month.
And there's all the songs from like Hellboy and the what's the name of the other one? Castles, I think. Castles EP.
Yeah. I think it's
I was listening
Castlevania.
to the songs.
Mm.
Yeah, I was listening to the album that has collabs with Wicca Phase, like
Mm.
3 songs.
Mm.
I was listening to all those songs, and it was only like a month, and I was like, yeah, this dude is sick. He's gonna blow up. And then he passes away, and I was like, what the fuck? Can I swear on this?
Yeah, you can.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? I was like, dude, I was so distraught. I was so down bad when that happened. And I just, like, for the following weeks, he was the only artist I listened to. I would completely disregard all the other songs on my playlist. It would just be Little Peep.
I can agree with that one.
Yeah, and what made it even more of like what was even how to say it? Like another thing that like meant a lot was one of the producers who produced for the Hellboy EP. His name is Young Cortex. He followed me back on Twitter in like early 2018, and I messaged him, and I was like, "Yo, I love the work that you did on those old Lil Peep songs," and I wasn't expecting him to message me back because I didn't have a lot of followers back then, and I was really surprised that he even followed me. He messaged me back, and we spoke a little bit, and he said he really liked what I was doing, and he ended up sending me a beat for like an extremely discounted price than what he would usually sell beats for, because I mean, Lil Peep's producer is going to be really expensive.
Yeah.
So he said he gave me like a heavily discounted price, and I made a song on the beat with a guy that I was friends with at the time called Lil Skyscraper, and I put that song on, and it did pretty well, but that didn't really matter. I wasn't really thinking about that. I was so like taken aback at the fact that I was able to do that. Like I was able to say I have a song with the same producer who produced for Lil Peep.
Yeah,
that was just crazy to me.
That is very much so crazy.
And I took it off of SoundCloud because it got I think it got botted. Like, you know, because back then I would like promote my songs on like Facebook and stuff. And you know, when you're just throwing the link out all over the place on sites like Facebook, it's pretty easy for like some person to just come along and just you just with the click of a button you can just bot it. And I didn't really like that happened, so I took it down because I didn't have SoundCloud Pro to just hide the stats. So I left it on Spotify and Apple Music, but I took it, and it's on YouTube as well, but I took it off the SoundCloud. So if anyone wants to go back and you know see what I'm talking about, I think it's called Fallen Feature with Little Skyscraper for the uncle.
I'll probably look for it on. Yeah, I'll look for it and I'll link it in the description for you. Yeah. If anybody wants to listen to it. I remember I hated this so much in Form 4 or Form, I think it's around Form 3, Form 4 when I used to hang out with Elijah and Bino. Made that one song.
That one song.
That one song. I'll probably play it in the background right now, but my god, that song was so horrid. I hated myself so much after. Like, I was a little bit gassed at the moment. Like, the first 1 or 2 lessons, but after that, I was like, oh god, what is this?
What is happening?
Why did I do this?
I mean, in all honesty, it's not bad. It definitely could be worse. It could be a lot worse, which it isn't. So that that's how I guess you should look at it. Instead of being like, oh, why did I do that? It's so cringe, it's so bad. It is a bit cringe. It is. But it's not terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I can
If I
agree.
could definitely see that if you continued, you would have only gotten better from there.
Mm,
Because anything that what I was making 2 years ago was terrible to me,
mm,
but I just kept doing it.
mm, okay, okay.
And like, because that's the thing, just keep, and like it applies to anything. You know, like anything that you do, as long as you keep doing it, you'll get better at it.
Yeah, like yeah, I can
Because
agree
like
with
with
that.
you, it's
It's
visual arts,
yeah,
right?
it was media art, digital
Yeah,
art.
like your artwork now is noticeably, and I think anyone can see that it's noticeably better than what it was a year, 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm,
And even
mm-hmm,
back then, it was good. Like you're a good artist.
mm. Thanks. It was
Yeah,
meh.
it's a lot better than what
It was.
I cannot draw things at all.
Mm. I think I remember I did. Yeah, I did. You did ask me for commission for one of your songs. I think it was with hm.Wav. So.
Yeah, the one with hm. The first, I have two songs with hm. It was the
Mm.
second one or the
Yeah.
first one. Can't remember, but it was one of them.
Mm. Mm. Uh.
That was good. I liked how that looked.
Mm. It gave a good aesthetic for the song. It
Yeah, it
did.
fit well.
Mm. And you were supposed to do an EP, but you just end up not doing it.
I just didn't do it. I guess it was, I just lost the passion to do it. Like I lost the drive to actually put all those songs out at once. And I just figured, I'll just release them one by one like I normally do. And I just ended up doing that instead. But I made sure to still use the artwork because I didn't want to just waste that. I didn't want it to just have been done for nothing.
Yeah.
Because I did like it.
I'm glad you did. I think that was around like the first time I drew dreads or drew like any form of like ponytail or other than like straight hair ponytail, like that type of style, like that type of hair per se. It was my first time doing that, so it was a good learning experience, to be honest. Like, I think like the last drawing I did was a character with dreads, and it does look a good bit better than how it did before, at least.
Yeah, again with the constant improvement. That's how we do.
It's how we move around here now, innit?
That's how we move.
Alright. 20, 30 minutes of just normal talking. Let's get into the questions. So, in today's podcast, we are supposed to be talking about quarantine life. Like, how has quarantine affected the mental state of most people, especially within the creative art industry per se? Like, how has it been for you per se? Like, has it drained your mental, like your want to actually get these things done, or like affect the way that you do, like does it affect your workflow in terms of making music?
Getting things done.
Huh?
In terms of like getting things done.
Yeah.
It definitely has, because when I would be like going to school or have classes, I would just record on the weekends, because that would be the best time to do that, because there was like a structure around it. During the week I'm actively doing something and I'm tired and I want to get enough sleep, so on the weekends I would stay up late and record when everyone else is asleep. But in quarantine I'm not doing anything ever, so that makes it a lot easier to procrastinate, because in my head there's no longer a difference between the weekday and the weekend. It's all just the weekend pretty much. So if every day's the weekend, it becomes a lot harder to set an actual day to actually do stuff. But I do know there's all at the very beginning when quarantine first started, it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have so much time to be so creative and do everything that I want. I can record every single day.
Agreed.
And that's how it started. But very quickly, when the months pass, at least for me, other people may not share the same experience. But for me, as the months pass, it just became more and more difficult to actually do what I want to do and get the creativity flowing, you know, because every day I would wake up, I'll be like, yeah, I can record tonight, and then tonight will come, and I'll say, oh, I can do it tomorrow. I'm not doing it tomorrow. I can do it then. And it would just be that constant cycle for days on and weeks.
To be honest with you, that's how it has been for me. I'm already someone who procrastinates a good bit, but if it comes down to the week or like 2 weeks to actually get the thing done, I would get it done. But I feel like as soon as I get too comfortable or too lazy, or like I would just start procrastinating significantly more than how I would normally procrastinate, and that resulted into last term what happened per se, and it slowly started to happen this term. But I said, nah, let me not have that repeat again, and so I had to do this podcast 4 days in a row rather than having it spaced out and people actually getting time to sit down and watch through it and get good results per se. But that's on me per se. Kind of allow it to get to me. Though it wouldn't be the best results, at least I would at least have it done.
Yeah, like especially something like this that takes up like a chunk of your time. Once you do the first one and you get it rolling, it's pretty easy to like do it the next day.
Like to be
that's what I think.
Yeah, like to be honest with you, with me, I'm a person that knows that like this starts giving me something like procreate, like to actually start putting my time into and to do. So it would like something that would actually help and like start getting into the flow of wanting to do something, or like to make more other things, or to want to add more or to improve. Like for example with the editing, I would do so much more around like next week or the week after when I decide to continue doing this podcast and like doing like different things rather than just limiting myself to just these 4 episodes. Like I feel like it's something I could do, because I know me myself, I don't like to be the focus of things, because I see myself as a black and white person, which is why most of the times when I draw in black and white, or I just draw my persona, the icon for the podcast itself, as black and white, because well, though I have my personality and people might want to get to know me, I prefer to allow other people to show who they are and put themselves out there, or to have jokes with and have like a good kind of flow per se to things. Like it like this really does give me inspiration per se. And though
to just continue.
But I can't do this online class thing. I really can't. I really can't.
That at all, man.
I can't. It just what?
It's so tedious to do.
It really is, because now it's not just to get up and go like rush and like get that kind of jolt of energy in the morning of kind of like wanted to get to school and like at least a decent bit on time to like make your breakfast on your own, go to school, attend school, listen to class, fuck around, talk to friends, enjoy life, be outside, rather than and then come back home feeling tired as hell, but inspired to actually get some things done. Or like wanting to like, for example, like when I get homework now, and I really just almost never do it to be honest. But when I got it then, I'd at least have it done by that night or on the day itself, like in class most times.
Yeah, like last semester, when I say last semester, but during the summer semester that we have, I had a Spanish class, and after pretty much every class, we would have some sort of homework to do, and class was twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday. And after every class, we would have homework to do, and it lasted a month. So that's like 8 classes, right? 4 weeks, yeah, that's 8 classes. And I never, not once, did I do the homework. Like other people would. And you know, the next day she would come, the professor would come, she would say, hey, let's correct the homework. I want to hear participation. I want you all to say what your answers are. And I would just never say my answers because I didn't have it. And I would do my homework if I was actually in school. Because I on top of that, Spanish is something that I actually like. I would do the homework because I am currently trying to like be fluent in Spanish. But I don't know, when it's online and there's no incentive because you're just getting on your laptop. You can lay in your bed, just put on your laptop and just listen.
Stare at the
There's
screen.
no incentive to actually like do assignments when you're given them, unless it's like contributes to your grade or something. But a regular assignment just wouldn't get done.
Agree. Like I started seriously getting into Tetris during quarantine. Like I would deadass sit down in class, pretend somewhat to listen to it, and just play Tetris almost the entire time. Have music playing in the background, playing Tetris, listening to the class, and barely taking in anything. Like I would say for the first 2, 3, 4 weeks, for the first like few weeks, I actually like was doing the work and listening. But after some time, I just didn't do the in-class work at all either. Like I would just be there, listen on, type, yeah, I'm here, or make some kind of comment so that they would know I'm around still and alive. But
yeah, I would do that, but instead of Tetris, it would be Brawlhalla. Like, yeah, I'm still listening, but it's game hours, right?
Oh, fuck studying. It's gamer time.
Bro, my elo isn't high enough. I need to get to it. Macroeconomics can wait.
I was kind of expecting you to say like Valorant.
Oh, Valorant takes like a bit more concentration.
Yeah.
So I'd rather play Valorant when I'm not also listening to a class.
I could agree with that. It is a kind of a sweat game.
You don't want like your professor saying something kind of important, and then you also have to focus on if you're hearing enemy footsteps.
That's understandable. How much music have you, what would you say you have produced or made during quarantine? I remember the last one you made was Dress, right? Which was like a few weeks?
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. When did quarantine start?
Before, like around like a week or two before summer vacation. Well, for y'all, summer vacation. My school still hasn't finished as yet. The term isn't done still. Like, we have class till around the end of, like, the start of September.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I would say I made like 5 songs.
It is pretty good, to be honest.
Roughly 5, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I'm working on one right now,
Mm,
so it would be 6 in like a couple weeks.
That's good. That is good. Because that's more. I think that's more songs than I have artwork. Because I think I can't, like, the last time I had dropped anything on my art Instagram page before the last two that I did was, let me check real quick, because I know it was a few months, I think. Let me check. Last drawing before that one was May the 27th. Between May the 27th and August the 18th. That was the amount of time that I haven't drawn for.
That's a lot of months.
May, June, July, August. Yeah, 3 months. I didn't drop any art. I didn't do any art. I just was lazy. I think like I did like 1 or 2 drawings. Yeah, like 1 or 2 drawings. I did the one with the butterflies, and I did another one before that. And then after that, I just didn't drop any art until August. So I was down bad in terms of creating art at all. It was rough. It was really rough.
Being in quarantine definitely didn't help.
With my creative flow, it really didn't help me with my creative flow. But at least glad I could at least do this, like I said before, because this sparks back up my creativity of wanting to draw or to even collaborate with other people, talk to other artists. It really does give me that type of opportunity. I think now we could go into the free talk section of the podcast, where you could really just talk about whatever you want, whether it be specifically about quarantine life or just something in general.
Yeah.
If you have any suggestions, you could go ahead and start. Because I'll have to think. Because the only one that was semi-scripted was the first one. Second one, I winged it, which it actually turned out good. This one I'm winging as well.
Well, I'm not sure because I mean we talk like just on Discord outside of the podcast format. We just talk casually, so I don't really think about it. But now that I have to like think about what to talk about, I suddenly don't know.
Let me think about something. Oh, one of the questions I was supposed to ask you first. What, in your opinion, what do you like? What does social well-being mean to you?
What social well-being means
To you?
me.
Yeah.
To me, it's like your level of like how well you're integrated into your community or social environment, and how your community or social environment interacts with you as an individual. And so if you have like a good relationship with like your friends and your other social circles, then I'd say that is necessary for you to have like a high social well-being. So like someone who doesn't have that, like if you're isolated all the time, and you don't like really talk to anyone. You're just you're like by yourself. Then that person definitely doesn't have very good social well-being. I think there's a word for it in Japanese. I think it's hikikomori. And those people, they're like, well, Japan has like a word for everything. So hikikomori, they're like people who isolate themselves completely. Like they don't go to work, they don't go to school. They live in like a tiny apartment and they don't leave it. If they want food, they get it like delivered. If they have to pay rent, their parents pay it for them. They do absolutely nothing with regards to being a member of like
society.
Yeah. They're still living. They still have their own like minds and stuff, but they're just not integrated with other people. So I think people who are hikikomori in Japan, that's like the worst social well-being you can possibly
extremely down bad.
Extremely. And because I was researching it, and I feel bad for them because it's not really their fault that they're like that. They have like really bad anxiety, like social anxieties, and they just can't, go out and be out there. And Japanese culture allows them to, because like parents in Japan tend to not really have an issue with their kid not moving out. In most cases, obviously not everyone, but like as a society, they don't really have an issue with like looking after their kids. So for like indefinitely. So it's not very difficult for them to be like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna live like this. My parents can cover my rent because more like their dad might be a businessman or something. Like I can get money from him, I can get food from them. I don't really have to try in the first place. Because we all know in most Western societies you can't really do that. Like your parents, if you are living with your parents, they force you to like do something.
Fucking neckbeards.
Yeah, even neckbeards, they like go to conventions, right? Like they still go out in some capacity.
But they don't band. They don't band.
They're still down bad in a general sense, but yeah.
I feel that.
So back to like the original thing. Using that as an example, I would say that's pretty bad social well-being. So the opposite of that would be good social well-being. I don't know if I have a good social well-being, if I'm being honest.
Me neither. I don't have
Because I do speak to people. I wouldn't say like I don't have friends. But sometimes it is difficult to like make new friends and to like be open with people. So in that regard, I wouldn't say my social well-being is the best.
It's not optimal, but it's not down bad.
Yeah.
Type bad.
Yeah. It's average probably.
I'd say the same. In what ways would you say would you have made changes to the way that you live in quarantine? Like at the start, like compared from now to back then, what would you have done differently per se when during quarantine or in quarantine as compared to what you did? So like
It's not really something I thought of. I've just kind of been living just there. Not really putting too much thought into like how my day-to-day activities are different. but I guess I kind of just treated it as if I'm on summer break the whole time.
Mm.
So I'm on my computer or listening to music or eating or sleeping.
Mm.
And those are, I guess, the only difference is that I would have been doing those things less if it wasn't for quarantine. All those things would have just been happening less frequently.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I just amped up the trivial tasks
Mm.
of browsing the internet or Netflix or YouTube.
Mm.
Yeah. If back then I knew quarantine was gonna last this long, I still don't know what I would have done differently. Because it's not really up to me.
Mm.
I just have to stay in my house.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel that.
I
I feel
just want
that.
to go back to regular school.
I do too. I think a lot of people do as well.
Yeah.
This shit really has a young nigga down bad.
Jeez, it's so much.
It just
Like, couldn't we have like several tiny quarantines scattered throughout a couple of years, as opposed to the majority of the year being one? And even more, it may even be till like the end of the year.
I think all schools are
It is,
closed.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, we're not going back to school
because
this year.
men don't want to wear their mask and nobody wants to. Either that or they're wearing the mask wrong. They continuously going out. They're doing whatever they want to do. Not taking it seriously.
Which is like so stupid.
It
Like,
really is.
the beaches were so full the day before we were supposed to go back into quarantine. How stupid are you people? Why would you do that?
It completely defeats the purpose.
It completely defeats the purpose. If you know that, hey, there's a bunch of new cases in the country, and as a result of that, we're gonna have to go back into quarantine, why would you then go to the beach? Or it's so dumb. It's so dumb. I never understand this country. I don't know how these people are real.
Yo, well, you already know the saying, Trinidad is not a real place.
It's not a real place. Figment of our imagination. I just let it go too far.
But I guess in some ways, with this quarantine, it really did help me open my eyes to certain aspects of myself, or certain aspects to the people that I hang around, or what I surround myself with, or even me as a person. Mainly me as a person. Just like there's a lot of things I would like to or need to change about myself. I can't really do now, but I would like to at least be able to do, or at least to be able to accomplish, like losing weight, or well, one of the goals is to continue growing out my hair. I already reached the goal of being able to put it in a bun, so now it's just just continue growing it. And another goal is to continue to draw and reach a higher amount of people that follow me on Instagram, because barely anybody follows me on Instagram, like on my, at least my art Instagram.
Hey, shout out Amayu. He deserves more followers. I'm watching this, somehow don't already follow his art page. Get at that ASAP like Rocky. Come on, what's your art on your art page?
Mayu_.u.
Mayu_.u. Yeah, get at that.
Because it's at 58 followers, which is meh. Could be better.
What I can recommend if you want to specifically grow your Instagram for art, if you ever get, like, when you get like a source of income, like, I don't know if it's like a job or if you get an allowance or anything like that, do ads on Instagram whenever you have like a new piece of artwork. and you post it as an ad. So even if people aren't following you, they'll see it as like a promoted post. And in the caption, you can be like, yeah, I do ad, boom. I do permissions too, boom. You know, like that'll get people to like look. Because even if they don't know you from your main page, they'll see your art, and there's a pretty good chance that they'll follow that account.
Yeah, that's true.
Because yeah, I don't do it every time, but sometimes I would post my song on Instagram as an ad, and it does make a difference. Like, because you can see the statistics of it, and it does make a difference. Like, quite a bit of people see it who I otherwise would have never reached. Like people who don't follow me, who are like from Europe or North America, and even in Asia. I got a lot of followers. Well, not a lot, but I got quite a few followers from Russia because my ad ended up getting showed a lot there. I forgot which song it was, but yeah, and it appealed to the Russian demographic, I guess. And now, like 5% of my SoundCloud plays come from Russia.
Like people in Europe, in terms of music, really do like fluctuate to the more like hyper pop or like rock rap or punk rap or like those fusions, like those types of fusions, they really gravitate towards. Because anytime when you go to a Scarlet premiere or comment section, it's 99% Russian, 1% English.
Yeah, I think that's interesting how the Russian culture kind of like raises them to prefer that kind of that sound.
That gritty kind of. It kind of does reflect the type of country that they are in some ways.
Yeah. Like the whole vibe you get from Russia is like if countries had aesthetics, Russia would be alt. Like Russia would like be the gothic one.
I can agree.
So much of Russia's architecture is like gothic inspired.
Or it's like I can't remember what it's called, but there's a term for it. I can't remember, but like
describe what you mean.
Like mainly concrete, and it's hard. Like it's kind of like in some term or way like perfect for free running per se or parkour. I swear I can't speak. Like
I think I can pick what you
if
mean.
you know what I mean. Like I can't remember what the type of buildings it is. I can't remember, but whatever. But
you want to visit Russia sometime?
It would
At some point.
It would be an interesting place to go to. Though I am a little bit afraid of the possible racism that would be faced in Russia. I have a slight feeling that I might get a little ER thrown at me.
That's a thing. Speak English.
Suka блядь.
I mean, I've spoken to a few Russian people. I'm friends with one Russian person, and she's pretty nice. So, hopefully there's more like her. Not racist. Just normal.
I feel that. I think that's around an hour's time of the podcast, so that's a good. I think that'll be more than enough. That's around the average time that I have my podcast at. So I'd really like to thank you for coming on to the podcast and talking I really appreciate it. You shout out your pages. I'll probably put it in the links in the description down below. Good.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me to be on. It was pretty fun. Yeah. My Instagram and Twitter are at ft.Naski, and my SoundCloud is Naski Music. And you can find me on like Spotify, Apple Music if you just search Naski. I'm the one with like the anime picture. There's another Naski who's Norwegian, and he comes up first because he has more followers. But I messaged him and he said it's cool that I use the name too. So it's he's really nice guy. He's like a DJ. I can't remember if he's Polish or Norwegian, but a European DJ, and he's really cool. But yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
It really was.
Just talking, just vibing.
Nothing too intensive or serious.
Yeah.
Well, follow me on Instagram as well at mayu_u_.u. Thank you again for listening. Have a great day, and yeah.
I don't wanna go home, just leave me here in the backseat chilling, okay? Now that I need you here tonight, I just need